They thought it was just a harmless prank, a way to break the monotony of a long road trip. But by the time they realized the cost of their joke, it was too late. On a deserted stretch of U.S. Route 95, somewhere between the vast emptiness of Tonopah and the endless desert sands of Beatty, Nevada, their laughter turned to screams. What happened next would become one of the most chilling and unexplainable cases ever recorded. It was a warm spring night, the kind of night that carries a quiet serenity. You could almost hear the hum of the desert if you listened closely. The stars were bright, unblemished by city lights, as four friends, Alex, Brooke, Marcus, and Kaylee, drove down the lonely U.S. Route 95. They had just left Las Vegas, heading toward Reno, a route that cuts through hundreds of miles of desolate highway, the kind of road where gas stations are rare and the landscape feels alien. Somewhere near a spot locals ominously call the Devil's Playground, they decided to pull over. They weren't in a hurry, and Marcus, always the joker of the group, wanted to stretch his legs. "Let's have some fun," he suggested, pulling a white sheet from his bag. "We can scare the next car that passes." Alex hesitated. "What if someone crashes or something? That's dangerous, man." But Marcus waved him off. "It's the middle of nowhere. Relax, it'll just be a laugh." Brooke and Kaylee reluctantly agreed, laughing nervously as Marcus draped the sheet over himself. They parked the car off the road, hidden behind a rise. Marcus positioned himself just beyond a bend in the highway, waiting for headlights to appear. It didn't take long. A semi-truck roared into view, its headlights cutting through the darkness like knives. At the perfect moment, Marcus leapt into the road, waving his arms like a ghostly apparition. The truck screeched, tires skidding on asphalt, and the air was filled with the deafening roar of brakes. The friends, hiding in the shadows, burst out laughing. But Marcus stood frozen, staring as the truck rumbled past. "Did you see that?" he whispered, his voice trembling when he rejoined the group. "See what?" Brooke asked, still giggling. "There was someone else on the road," Marcus stammered. "Behind me, standing there." "Yeah, right," Alex scoffed. "No, I'm serious," Marcus insisted. "They were tall, taller than the truck, and their eyes, they were glowing red." The laughter died. A cold wind blew across the desert, and for the first time that night, the group felt uneasy. They got back in the car and resumed their drive. The mood had shifted. The jokes stopped. Even Marcus seemed uncharacteristically quiet. That's when they noticed the sound. A faint scraping noise, like metal dragging against asphalt, echoed faintly behind them. "Did we leave something behind?" Kaylee asked. Alex slowed the car. The sound faded. He looked in the rearview mirror, but the darkness swallowed everything. "Probably just the wind," he muttered, speeding up again. But the noise returned, louder this time. And then they saw it. In the distance, illuminated by their taillights, was a figure, tall and impossibly thin. It seemed to glide over the road. Its long arms swung unnaturally, its head tilted at an angle that defied anatomy. "What the hell is that?" Brooke whispered. "Just drive," Marcus urged, his voice rising in panic. Alex floored the gas pedal. The car raced down the highway, but no matter how fast they went, the figure stayed in sight, growing closer. It was as though it wasn't running but pulling itself forward, its movements erratic, yet terrifyingly fast. Kaylee screamed as the figure suddenly appeared just feet from the car. Its face, or what they assumed was a face, was a blank, pale void. No features, just emptiness. Alex swerved, nearly losing control. The figure vanished into the darkness as quickly as it had appeared. The car skidded to a stop. For a moment, everything was silent except for their heavy breathing. "Did we hit it?" Brooke asked. "No, I don't think so," Alex replied. "I told you," Marcus whispered, his voice barely audible. I saw it earlier. It's following us." They debated turning back, but decided against it. Instead, they drove on, the oppressive silence in the car broken only by the occasional muttered prayer. The highway seemed endless, each mile blending into the next. They passed an old rusted sign for a ghost town called Rhyolite, its letters barely legible. As they neared an abandoned rest stop, the car's engine sputtered. "No, no, no," Alex groaned, slamming the steering wheel. The car coasted to a stop. They were stranded, surrounded by nothing but desert. "Great," Brooke muttered. "What now?" Marcus suggested walking to the rest stop for help, though they all knew it was probably deserted. With no better option, they grabbed their flashlights and set out. The rest stop was a shell of its former self. Broken windows, graffiti-covered walls, and the eerie creak of a rusted swing set greeted them. They split up, searching for anything useful. That's when Kaylee screamed. The others ran to find her staring at the wall. Scrawled in what looked like blood were the words, "You can't run." A loud thud echoed from outside. They froze, their flashlights darting around. The figure was back. It stood at the edge of the parking lot, its head cocked unnaturally to the side. Without thinking, they ran. The desert offered no protection. The figure seemed to be everywhere, flickering in and out of their vision. One moment it was behind them, the next ahead. Marcus tripped, falling hard. The others turned, only to see the figure standing over him. Its long arms reached down, pulling him up effortlessly. "Help me," Marcus screamed, his voice cutting through the night. But they couldn't move. The figure let out a low, guttural noise that seemed to vibrate in their bone. And then, both Marcus and the figure were gone. The remaining three stumbled back to the car, locking themselves inside. They sat in silence, their eyes glued to the darkness outside. At dawn, they flagged down a passing car and told their story. But by the time police arrived, there was no sign of Marcus or the figure. To this day, no one knows what they saw on US Route 95. Some say it was a ghost, others believe it was something far worse. All that remains is the warning scrawled on the rest stop wall. "You can't run." If you ever find yourself on a lonely stretch of road in the middle of the desert, remember, not everything out there is human, and some pranks can cost more than a laugh. Do you love chilling tales from America's eeriest highways? Subscribe now to explore more haunted roads, spine-tingling legends, and mysterious disappearances across the country. Let us know in the comments. What's the scariest road you've ever driven? And don't forget to hit the like button if this story kept you on the edge of your seat. Until next time, stay safe and stay on the road.